Hello, welcome back to Hockenheim, where we have made history. We've had the first ever race in the W Series, the F3 Series, exclusively for female drivers, and there have been stories aplenty. So we're just wrapping up the day. I'll go through everybody's race. Miki Koyama, the Japanese driver, who was one of the stars of the race, is just her friends from Japan have done a fantastic little sign, and she's just wrapping up with them. I'll give you the lay of the land here as well. So W Series have this part here. They have all of their cars on that side. They have their trucks, the engineering trucks, and then the DTM, the German Touring Car Championship, has their trucks on this side. A lot of the drivers will now go into the simulator room in here, if you just want to duck down, and they'll start practicing for Zolder next time round. So all of these will be loaded up with Zolder. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they can start going and practicing already for the next race in Belgium. And then next door we have engineering as well, so we'll just give you a little peek in there. I think we saw Miki Koyama go into there, so we can just have a quick look, because of course not only we've got 18 drivers, we've also got 18 engineers, and this is all run in association with W Series by High Tech. Go on, Hayden, go on, have a look, don't be shy. By High Tech Grand Prix. So each driver has to have an engineer, and each driver has their own team of mechanics, and then there are some mechanics who run the cars as well. So it's quite surprising how many people are here, of course, because there are no teams. There's just one big team, but 18 drivers. Now here we have Emma Kymäläinen. Let's start off with Kymäläinen and Megan Gilks, who were involved in that crash early on. So Emma Kymäläinen here with the grey jacket on stalled a little bit. She had too high revs, she was telling me, on the grid, and then dropped the revs and then pulled out the clutch, and then the car sort of hesitated. It wasn't that she was surprised by the lights at all, Emma. It's just that the car kind of stalled on the grid, and that put her down towards in the carbon fibre zone, as they call it. As she's just explaining to Mickey, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, because Megan Gilks, the Canadian driver, just came down far too quick, misjudged her braking, got on some of the cement dust that had been left by a crash in the Porsche race just before, and completely outbrake herself, and then clonked into Emma Kymäläinen. Megan Gilks, for her, keep calling her Gilks, sorry, it's Gilks, for her part, was apologetic. She was a bit emotional when I spoke to her, and she was saying that look, you know, it was just one of those things. She takes full responsibility for it. Before the race, she had actually wished Emma Kymäläinen luck, and was just gutted that she'd taken out another driver from the Grand Prix. So that's what happened there. So as you can see here, just all the cars being prepared and packed down for the trip to Zolder. So have a look at them, Hayden, while I tell you about 16th place. So we'll go from the back. We've done Megan Gilks and Kymäläinen. And Shea Holbrook, difficult weekend for her. Still learning these Formula 3 cars, because it's not used to what she's used to, not what she's been used to in the past. And it's just had a few spins throughout the weekend and indeed today, but overall feels that she'll be better as the season goes on. Once she got used to it with the tyres in these cars, she'd had some decent pace to Shea Holbrook, and she's felt that she's learnt quite a lot going into the next round. Same for Vicky Piria, P15. When you consider that she's had 5 years out of racing, I think that's pretty decent effort for Vicky Piria. She was running very well. Don't worry, it's okay. It's just us. Good. She's 5 years out of racing, had the pace, and proved to herself as much as anything else that she could still do it, and that's what she was particularly pleased with after the race. She did have a spin towards the end. That's why she finished down in P15. P14, Naomi Schiff, the German driver. Not really the weekend that she wanted. It is her home race, even though she's taken German. She's racing under a German flag because she's been living here for a few years. I think she's actually was living in Belgium before. But very interesting background, actually. German father, Rwandan mother, and she's been doing really well had good pace earlier on in the weekend, but not a particularly great qualifying, and but did make up a couple of places in the race with some decent pace. So P14 for Naomi Schiff at her home Grand Prix. Sabra Cook, bit frustrated, but I caught up with her when she was pushing her car back from the Parc Fermé into the assembly area, but I think she's pleased with the way the weekend went generally, but feels that P13 she can do a little bit more from there. But yeah, she's getting used to these cars in the same way that Shea Holbrook is. Two American drivers not really used to these European way of racing as well, but she's got talent, both Shea Holbrook and Sabra Cook, so she can go better from that. Now, Esme Hawkey, so frustrating. The first time having driven GT cars that she was in these F3 cars and was running P8, running really well in P8, and then dropped down, had a spin, lost a few places, and end up P12. But Esme Hawkey showed some great promise in the race today as she got up to, despite finishing P12. Jessica Hawkins, learning experience. We find ourselves back at the W Series HQ, so have a tour around Hayden and see who you can find. Well, I'll just run through quite quickly the rest. Jessica Hawkins, learning experience for her. Happy, she said, to have the opportunity to race Formula 3 and W Series. Felt she was too cautious at the beginning, but really went for it about halfway through the race and overtook a lot of cars. Feels she's going to improve quite a lot. Caitlin Wood, P10, very solid weekend for the Australian. Up 2 places from where she qualified, Caitlin. Really enjoyed it, and that's a point she gets for P10. Gosia Radest, Polish driver, battled with Esme Hawkey and had a good race, and she said her goal was to be finish in the top 10, and she's actually done one better than that. She's finished P9, so 2 points for Gosia Radest. Well done to her. Now, 2 of my stars of the race were Miki Koyama, who we saw earlier, and Tasmin Pepper, the South African driver. She was absolutely brilliant today, because starting 16th on the grid to P8, a very strong drive, and felt that was she was very encouraged for the future, was Tasmin Pepper. But that was great after what was not the cleanest of weekends for her. You right? Good. Miki Koyama, we saw her earlier, one of my also stars of the race, up from P17 to P7. She was quite emotional after the race because she felt bad for her engineer and for her mechanic, who'd really supported her, but she didn't like the wet conditions at all throughout qualifying and throughout some of the second free practice session, and all the promise that Miki had earlier on in dry conditions in this process, the selection process, she wasn't able to deliver on. And that's why she felt so frustrated. She was very apologetic to her team crew. But anyway, she had great pace in the race. She was doing just as good lap times during the race as Jamie Chadwick, who actually ended up winning it, of course. We have Fabienne Volvend here, just to our left-hand side. She's P6, and a bit of a difficult start on the wet side of the grid because she was, of course, P2 on the grid, front row. Lost a couple of places off the start and had to avoid the crash at the hairpin, but got into the race and had good pace and wished it was a bit longer, so Fabienne told me a little bit earlier. There is Naomi Schiff we were talking about earlier, just over my shoulder. Tell you about Sarah Moore, who had a fantastic battle in her return to F3. She actually led the race after Jamie Chadwick locked up and went on at the hairpin, but a great battling drive that we've seen from Sarah Moore in the past, and that was great stuff. But she struggled to control the car at some points. But P5 is an excellent result for her. Decent start for Beitske-Visser, P4, up from P8 on the grid to P4, and really got into it. So that's making up 4 places. That's one of the big movers. So congratulations to Beitske-Visser. Got in a great fight, both with Sarah Moore and with Marta Garcia ahead of her. And Marta Garcia, what a star I think we have in the making. I wonder if Marta is around. Only 18 years old, not used to these conditions, not particularly used to these cars, but has been, you know, one of the quickest cars in selection, and she really showed that today. Didn't really get qualifying together, hadn't felt comfortable in the wet all weekend, but as I say, had been quickest in testing, only P5 on the grid, but pressured Alice Powell all the way to the end. And mark my words, Marta Garcia, the young Spaniard, will be a factor in this championship. Alice Powell, you can just pop in here and have a look. I think she's around here. That's certainly her crash helmet on the desk, Hayden. Have a look. Alice Powell used all of her experience today in very difficult conditions after a disappointed P6 in qualifying on the grid. She knew they had better pace than that, and indeed she showed that in the race. Overtook Sarah Moore and chased Jamie Chadwick all the way to the end with some great pace. And talking of Jamie Chadwick, here she is, just celebrating and doing some more interviews with a P1 and the opening winner of the W Series. Congratulations.
Yes.
What? You don't have to lose that. No, you really don't have to lose that. Let's talk about that fight with Powell. I got thoroughly excited about it.
Did you?
Yes, I did, because
I
she was
didn't.
chasing you. Well, she was chasing you very, very hard. What was going on in that phase of the race? Were you struggling a bit?
A little bit, yeah. I think after lap 1, I had a few issues with the brakes, really struggling to get the car stopped. Turn 6 on the first lap, I lost the lead, so I was just trying to manage it from there and not make any mistakes. So I felt comfortable with Alice behind. I knew where I could pull away and gain a bit more advantage, but at the same time, she was coming in strong. So yeah, I knew what I needed to do, and yeah, just wanted to make the gap where I could and yeah, get the race win at the end.
Okay, we'll get to the end in a second. Tell us about the start. Did the lights, was it just me, or did the lights go off quite quickly?
Yeah, a bit quicker than I thought, to be honest. Yeah, my reactions weren't great to the lights, to be honest, but managed to, the grip was really low, so I had to slip the clutch quite a lot and managed to get a good launch, get away well, get through turn 1 well, and the first half of the lap was all going well.
Okay, come on, talk us through the look up and losing the lead.
We can skip that bit.
Oh, go on. Because there was cement dust down there from a Porsche race.
Yeah, I don't know what. Should I blame that? That's good. Yeah, you've just given me a. No, I don't know, to be honest. I went down there, I thought I braked quite early because, to be honest, I was looking in my mirrors and I had a good gap behind. I didn't feel the need to take the risk, and I thought I braked quite early. Quite comfortable going down the gears, and yeah, next thing I know, I was struggling to get the thing stopped. So yeah, it was really low grip on the circuit generally, but particularly down into turn 6, it was pretty slippy. And obviously, I'm the first car to hit it, so everyone else can see it behind me. But yeah, lost the lead, and then I had to get back into the lead after that, and didn't make the job easy for myself. But thankfully, we managed to get the win.
And the pass on Sarah to retake the lead?
Yeah, I think she had a bit of a slow run out of turn 1. Managed to get up alongside her. She squeezed me a bit, but managed to get up alongside her. And then again, struggled a bit with the braking zone. But yeah, once I was out front, I was a bit happier than I was when I was sat in P2.
Brilliant. Well, Jamie, congratulations. Pole position and the race win, but it was not that easy. And there was action along the way. And that is W Series. Tasmin Pepper here just congratulating Jamie as well. We have our first winner of the series, plenty more to come, so we will see you in a couple of weeks' time in Zolder, Belgium. Bye-bye.